Hello everyone, welcome to HKI Blossom, where we grow and blossom. Today we will be going over how to make character models from scratch, and I will be using a character from a recent short film I made. If you like this tutorial, let me know what other tutorials you would like me to make. I do want to let you know that this is my first time doing it from scratch, but I also know how to make models from gacha characters. The reason I'm not making a gacha version is that there are many out there already made that can explain them better. In fact, I have a playlist if you want to learn more in that category. Step 1. This highly depends on the type of program you have. I use the Life 2D free version, so most of the time I'm keeping my layers under 30. Always know your program even if it's free. Most of the time it will have limitations if some of it is paid. Make sure your characters are clean and simple but recognizable. Making the character turnarounds is a great help when marking and separating, but also, if you're using Pro, to make sure the characters have a realistic turnaround. For example, this character, Elise, has a simple palette with a small flower on her chest, but a noticeable design. By the way, this character is made by my good friend Gina Carnations. You can find her on Instagram. There isn't a lot to take apart and not overly complicated. Having simple designs can help with the workload of making these models. And for the one we are making, we're going to make Elise's side for one of the scenes. Step 2. Now, I know what you're thinking. How am I going to separate them into parts? And I respond with, why the hell did you click this video for? Firstly, let's think of this from a human standpoint. Where would you usually have joints? That's right, legs, arms, and so on. There we go. Actually, there's a lot more than finding the joints. Let's look at this chart. We already have the parts that need joints, but we also have to consider what moves on its own or is driven by momentum. In this case, it would be the hair and facial expressions. The hair is separated into parts: the braid, bangs, and the one strand of hair. We separate these to later give them their own warp and control them individually because hair moves differently depending on how much is in a bunch. As for the face, the brows are separated to be able to shape and move them to our liking when we are animating expressions. The eyes are a lot more complicated in their own way. The main movement they are making is looking around and blinking, so the iris and the lashes are both going to be separated. The lashes will be separated themselves into 2 or 3 parts depending on the eye design. Then it's the whites, the shine, and the shadows if you're going to give that to them. My character, however, won't have shadows. Make sure to clip the iris, shine, and if you have them, shadows to the white. And now you have your parts ready to be actually separated. Part 3. Make sure to draw or copy-paste them into different layers. Don't do the entire model if you're only using it once in a certain position. For example, Side Elise here will not have legs because the scene only needs the torso and up. Always check the storyboards and notes if you have them. But continuing on, the way you would make this a model file is to put it as a PSD and specifically preserved layers. You're going to click that and then you send it over to your Google Drive, or you send it to yourself if you have trouble with that. And that's how you make a model from scratch. If you want to learn how to rig them, let me know in the comments below and I will do my best to make another one. And check out my short film Back and Forth if you want to see how it turned out. I hope you learned something today and keep blooming.